After this video, you will know exactly which snipers and marksman rifles to use in the current meta. Choosing the right long-range weapon can be confusing, with subtle differences in handling, speed, and one-shot potential. So today, we're cutting through the noise with the definitive ranking. We're ranking every gun based on pure data and performance using a condensed tier system. S for meta defining, A for top tier, B for average, C for below average, and F for the garbage disposal. But first, one crucial note about snipers. Almost any sniper can feel S tier if your opponents aren't using a better one. Keep that context in mind as we rank these based on their true potential. Let's get started. First up is the 3-line rifle. And this gun is a bit of a headache. On one hand, statistically, it is the best sniper without a doubt. It has the DLQ-like one-shot hitbox, a decent 51 RPM fire rate, a fast 319 millisecond ADS time, and a 264 millisecond sprint to fire. The magazine is a little short at 5 bullets, but most importantly, it has an incredibly low 1.8 flinch. Basically, top tier stats across the board. But on the other hand, the actual usability is a different story. The bullet drift is awful, and so is the ADS animation. Honestly, that makes this sniper the biggest if on this entire list. To be totally clear, it is the best sniper in the game currently based purely on but at the same time, I personally can't use it effectively and find myself performing better with almost any other half-decent sniper. So yes, it has to go in S tier, but be warned, the adapting phase might be long and tricky. Next up is the Arctic 50. Now, this gun had its moment back when it could spam shots and one shot to the legs, but those days are long gone. Nowadays, it's not the best at spamming, and it's not the best damage-wise. In fact, it's not even close in either category. Yes, it has 120 RPM, but it's practically less usable than a right tech because it has much more recoil and flinch. On top of that, its damage is inconsistent due to its locust type hitbox. It can still be a fun option though, thanks to decent mobility stats like its 365 millisecond ADS time and 216 millisecond sprint to fire. It actually feels smooth to use, but only as long as no one is using a better sniper against you. It's usable, but definitely below average. The Arctic 50 lands in C tier. Next up, we've got the fan favorite, the OG, the DLQ-33. Probably 80% of you learned how to snipe with this gun, so yes, we're all a little biased. But factually speaking, the DLQ is the definition of an average sniper. It is the literal benchmark. It has the standard DLQ-like hitbox, one shot above the waist, 51 RPM, a 384 millisecond ADS time, 228 sprint to fire, and 8 bullets. These are basically the minimum requirements for a sniper in its class. Where it fails, however, is the flinch. At 4.2, it's just way too high to be consistently usable in direct gunfights. But it is the absolute best in the game at one specific thing: wallbangs. So if you are purely a wall spamming lineup focused player in Search and Destroy, this is your best pick. Outside of that very specific situation though, it's just average. The DLQ lands squarely in B tier. Next up is the HDR, which currently reigns as the best all-body one-shot sniper. Now, it's not broken like the old Arctic 50 stopping power or the ZRG anti-vehicle mag were. The HDR is what an all-body one-shot should be. Slow, punishing if you miss, but incredibly stable. You get that guaranteed full-body one-shot kill at all ranges, but the cost is significant. The fire rate is only 42 RPM, the 408 millisecond ADS time is a pain, and the 252 millisecond sprint to fire is equally slow. Thankfully, you get 7 bullets per mag, and more importantly, a fantastic 1.56 flinch. That low flinch is what provides the stability. My advice for using this gun is simple. You must run amped with a secondary weapon, because missing a shot is far more punishing than with faster snipers. You need that quick swap ready. It's not meta defining, but it is the best in its specific category by far. The HDR lands solidly in A tier. But you certainly don't want to be this guy. Watch this clip. My aim is on point, but an enemy comes around the corner with his shadow blade already active. This should be a free kill for him, an instant death for me. But then, nothing. He's so lagged out that his operator skill completely fails, and he just moves there broken. While my teammate cleans him up, my stable connection means I can ignore the chaos, turn, and win the next gunfight. My stability won us the engagement. That's the difference. This is exactly why I use Exit Lag Mobile. It's not just about improving my own gameplay. It's like insurance against the chaos of other laggy players. It keeps my connection stable and consistent, so I'm not dragged down by their bad network. It finds a more stable, direct route to the game server, ensuring my game is always responsive. It's incredibly simple. You just find your game and tap one button. If you're tired of losing to lag, whether it's yours or someone else's, try Exit Lag Mobile for free for 3 days using my link or the QR code on the screen. Use my code KIT for over 15% off subscription. And a huge thank you to Exit Lag Mobile for sponsoring this video. Alright, now that we're protected from the lag, let's get back to the video. Next up is the Koshka, a gun that was specifically designed to be an aggressive sniper. It has impressive speed stats for its class, 51 RPM, a fast 354 millisecond ADS time, and a lightning quick 189 millisecond sprint to fire. But most importantly, it has the best blank scope accuracy in the entire sniper category, making it uniquely deadly in those close range panic shots. Now, it has some drawbacks. The wallbang capacity is only decent, even with the armor piercing mag, and that mag only offers 6 bullets. The flinch is also high at 3.3, which is above what we'd ideally want. Here's the key comparison. The Koshka basically beats the DLQ in every important aspect for aggressive play. That clearly makes it the better sniper. However, it's still not quite dominant enough in the overall meta to reach A tier. For being clearly better than the benchmark B tier, the Koshka earns a B+ tier. Unsurprisingly, the Locust ends up right next to the DLQ on this list. But the real question is it better or worse than the benchmark? In many ways, they are identical. Their mobility is basically equal, their damage profiles are equal, their magazine stats are equal, and frustratingly, their steadiness is catastrophic for both due to high flinch. So where do they actually differ? There are 3 key points. First, the Locust has a slightly better fire rate, clocking in at 57 RPM compared to the DLQ's 51. Second, the DLQ has way better wall banging capabilities. And third, and this is the most crucial difference, the DLQ can equip a suppressor, while the Locust cannot. That suppressor makes the DLQ significantly better in almost every scenario, unless you're facing a team that has perfect communication 24/7. Because of that suppressor disadvantage, the Locust clearly falls slightly below the benchmark. It's still a B tier weapon, but it gets a B-. Next up is the LW3 Tundra. This gun was the undisputed king since early 2024, completely dominating the meta until the 3-line rifle arrived. It offers that essential DLQ-like hitbox combined with a faster 60 RPM fire rate. The 375 millisecond ADS time is alright, but it does have a nasty 312 millisecond sprint to fire delay. Since a nerf a while ago, it only has 5 bullets per magazine. Its wallbang capacity is decent, and the flinch isn't too bad at 2.4 when paired with toughness. But here's the crucial point. Unlike the 3-line rifle, the handling on the Tundra feels good. It's smooth, reliable, and predictable. So for all those reasons, I am maintaining the Tundra in the S tier for now. Once players get truly comfortable with the 3-line's quirks, the Tundra will likely drop to A tier. But until then, its blend of power and usability keeps it at the top. Alright, next up is the M21 EBR. And let's be blunt, in multiplayer, this gun is a joke. It's a semi-auto sniper, but it completely fails at both possible roles. Its fire rate is fast, but not fast enough to compete with spam-focused DMRs like the SKS. And its damage is too low to provide the consistent one-shot kills you'd get from something like the XPR. Honestly, the specific stats are irrelevant here. A gun like this needs to excel at either fast, consistent 2-shot kills or high damage. The M21 EBR has neither. It has no place in the meta. Straight to F tier. Next up, the NA45. Imagine a gun that's supposed to blow things up, but it doesn't actually deal enough explosive damage to do its job. That's basically the NA45. And as if that wasn't bad enough, you have to fire both shots to even trigger the explosion. Making matters worse, its fire rate was slowed down compared to when it was actually good 4 years ago. On top of that, the recoil kick was increased, making it incredibly tricky to land both shots in the same zone quickly. It's a fundamentally flawed gimmick weapon that has no place in the game. Straight to F tier. Next on the list is the Outlaw. This was the undisputed best aggressive sniper back in 2021, but nowadays, it lacks the consistent damage needed to compete. It's saddled with a locust-like hitbox, meaning you only get a one-shot kill up to 40 meters if you avoid the stomach and legs. Which is a shame, because everything else about it is built for aggression. It has a nice 67 RPM fire rate, a really good 292 millisecond ADS time, and a blazing 182 millisecond sprint to fire delay. You even get a large 9-bullet magazine, and the flinch isn't bad at 3.5, especially compared to the Locust or TLQ. But ultimately, that lack of consistent one-shot potential is just too big a flaw to overcome. The Outlaw lands in C tier. Next up is the Rytec AMR, which is the best heavy semi-auto sniper in the game and, frankly, the best sniper overall for respawn modes. Why? Because it has that crucial DLQ-like hitbox combined with a blistering 130 RPM fire rate. It's essentially a spam machine. Now, the mobility is slow, but the 412 millisecond ADS time is okay, considering you'll mostly be hardscoping and spamming anyway. The 6-round magazine gives you enough shots to work with, allowing for potential team wipes even if you miss. Its main drawback is the heavy 3.1 flinch, but aside from that, it's exactly what you want from a respawn sniper. For its dominance in that specific role, the Rytec AMR earns its A tier. If you thought the M21 EBR was a joke, let me introduce you to the SVD. Simply put, this gun is worse than the M21 in every single aspect. It has worse damage, worse fire, worse mobility, and worse handling. The only theoretical upside is a larger magazine size by 5 bullets. But honestly, the difference between 15 bullets of F tier and 20 bullets of F- tier is basically 0. Yes, this was actually the best sniper in ranked at one point, but that's just a vague memory now. The SVD is firmly in F tier. But unlike those last two, one semi-auto sniper that is absolutely not a joke is the XPR-50. This gun successfully combines speed and power. It has a locust-like one-shot hitbox out to 31 meters, paired with a fast 160 RPM fire rate. You also get incredibly aggressive mobility, with a 292 millisecond ADS time, and the lightning-fast 153 millisecond sprint-to-fire delay. It basically beats the Outlaw at its own game, and as a DMR, it has that infinite 2-shot kill potential just like the M21 or SVD, but unlike them, the XPR can actually defend itself in close range without looking stupid. Handling wise, this gun is a masterpiece. It has no recoil and a decent 2.8 flinch. The magazine size is a little short at only 8 bullets, but it's fairly usable. Now, it's not quite as dominant as an SKS or Type 63 if you're purely playing the DMR role in ranked. But as a versatile aggressive sniper, it's definitely top tier. The XPR-50 goes to A tier. Next up is the ZRG 20mm, another great option for an all-body one-shot sniper. Unlike the incredibly slow HDR, the ZRG feels closer to a DLQ in terms of stats. It does have a slow fire rate at 46 RPM, but its mobility is more manageable with a 381 millisecond ADS time and a 208 millisecond sprint-to-fire delay. However, it comes with some serious drawbacks. A depressingly small magazine with only 4 bullets and a quite high flinch at 3.9. But here's the bottom line. It's basically a DLQ that can one-shot kill to the legs. That consistency boost alone gives it significant value. Props to the ZRG. It lands in B tier. Moving on into the marksman rifles, we start with the Kilo Bolt Action, which is simply the best marksman in the game currently. It carries that essential DLQ-like hitbox and a decent 65 RPM fire rate. But what sets it apart is its astonishing mobility. We're talking a 230 millisecond ADS time and 182 millisecond sprint to fire. That is incredibly fast. Now, just like all marksman rifles, it suffers from a small 5-bullet magazine and bad flinch. But where it truly needs to make the difference, in speed and aggression, it absolutely does. For dominating its specific niche, the Kilo Bolt Action lands in A tier. Next is the MK2 Carbine, which is the other side of the coin compared to the Kilo Bolt Action. With the MK2, you're trading speed for stability. It's a little bit slower with a 247 millisecond ADS time and a 204 millisecond sprint to fire, but in return, you get much better flinch at 2.6 compared to the Kilo's 3.6. Honestly, if it wasn't for its frustrating bullet by bullet reload, this gun would be really fun to use. But because of that slow reload, and because it generally falls short compared to the Kilo Bolt Action, the MK2 lands in B tier. And the last of the core marksman rifles is the SPR-208. Just like its two brothers, the Kilo and the MK2, it has the DLQ-like hitbox, the small 5-round magazine, and bad flinch. But unfortunately, the SPR also gets the short end of the stick in every other category. It has the worst fire rate of the three at just 52 RPM, and its mobility stats are also the worst with a 262 millisecond ADS time and a 210 millisecond sprint to fire delay. So, the Kilo Bolt Action is better than the MK2, which is better than the SPR. Being the slowest and least effective of the group, the SPR lands in C tier. Next is the M1 Garand. Now, this is supposed to be a 2-shot kill DMR just like the Type 63 or SKS, but the problem is, it can't 2-shot kill consistently. And that basically summarizes the entire issue. It has an incredibly fast potential fire rate at 500 RPM, or a 120 millisecond interval, but in reality, most players can't click fast enough to reach that speed, meaning you're usually relying on its 3-shot kill potential. An SKS or Type 63 can secure a 2-shot kill in about 200 milliseconds, while the Garand would need at least 240 milliseconds to get a 3-shot kill. On top of that, the flinch isn't even that good, which makes hitting those follow-up shots even harder. Unless you're literally using 2 fingers to tap the fire button as fast as humanly possible, this gun just isn't good enough. It's still more useful than the M21 or SVD, but that's a low bar. The M1 Garand lands in C tier. Next up, we have the SKS, which is basically the definition of a DMR in Call of Duty Mobile. It embodies the core traits of its class. It's slow and steady, but it consistently kills within 2 shots as long as you aim above the waist. The concept is easy to understand, but the execution is incredibly painful to master. It's the benchmark for a reason. The SKS is a solid A tier. And finally, taking the top spot for DMRs is the Type 63. While the SKS is the definition of a DMR, the Type 63 is the upgrade. It does everything the SKS does well. The 2-shot potential, the handling, the efficiency, it does just as well. But there's one crucial area where the SKS struggles and the Type 63 excels: closer range fights. We mentioned the SKS is slow. Its 350 millisecond ADS time means you lose almost any fight under 25 meters if you're not already aimed in. The Type 63, however, has a much faster 256 millisecond ADS time. That speed gives you a fighting chance in those closer engagements. And that single advantage, that ability to compete at ranges where the SKS is simply too slow, is exactly what separates the A tier SKS from the S tier Type 63. So now you know the definitive ranking for snipers and marksman rifles. But the Season 9 update completely flipped the SMG meta upside down. The video on your screen is my fully updated SMG tier list for Season 9, breaking down the new kings of close range combat after all the buffs and nerfs.